Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blitzkrieg, our own strategic affairs show. Recently, more than 22 Republican senators floated an act. And they said that the Taliban must be called to account. They said, naming Pakistan twice, that Pakistan must be held to account for its shenanigans in Afghanistan, the direct support of terrorism. This bill is called the Afghanistan Counterterrorism Oversight and Accountability Act. Should it be accepted by both the houses and passed into law, it will give President Joe Biden powers to actually sanction Pakistan and individuals inside Pakistan. In another breaking news, Imran Khan mentioned to Anadolu News Agency, which is a Turkish news agency, that his government has been talking to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is a terror outfit. Too many things are going on in Pakistan, but today we're going to touch upon only two, and we're going to ask our guests what they think about what is happening. I'm joined by Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen is Senior Fellow at the Observer Research Foundation. Sushant, a very warm welcome to our show. We also have Brigadier Haris Nawaz, who will be joining us very shortly. There is a problem in the network. We are getting him to join. I'll start off by Sushant Sareen and ask him, Sushant Sareen, how serious do you think that this bill is? Because they're talking about sanctioning Pakistan, sanctioning the Taliban, and even though it's not law yet, it has spooked Pakistan so much that it's impacting their Sensex, their share markets. Your views, Sushant?
So, Gaurav, the way I'm looking at it, I think the seriousness of this particular move in the U.S. Congress, I think whether the bill becomes law or not is not important. I think it reflects the kind of hostility, the kind of anger that exists in the American establishment, political establishment, also in the military, the intelligence, generally everyone in America, as far as Pakistan is concerned. That anger is being reflected in these kind of moves. And I think that is what is really important. Now, whether this particular act becomes law, I am a little skeptical on that. Because the way I look at it, these kind of moves are made. They've been made in the past. Some of it is for domestic political reasons, but some of it is because people actually feel very strongly about what is happening in Afghanistan and what they perceive to be a kind of a drift or a disarray in American policy. But even if this bill was to become law, chances are that it will be watered down. We've seen such bills come in the past as well. Invariably, there is a line which is added in that bill that in case the Secretary of State or the President feels that it is going to serve America's national interest, then they can give a waiver or they will have to give a certificate that Pakistan is moving towards, whatever the Americans want. And you keep the sword hanging, but you keep prolonging this particular thing. So if it's going to follow that trajectory, then I'm not very sure of how much pressure is really going to mount on the Pakistanis, because they're kind of used to this kind of thing happening from the American side. If, however, those waivers are not given, then of course it becomes really serious, because given the vulnerabilities that exist in Pakistan, there is a lot of talk in Pakistan that, look, we will not go with the Western front. We will make a separate front, what I call the BRICS alliance, Pakistan, Russia, Iran, China, and what have you. But look, somebody has to foot the bill in Afghanistan. The West does it. These countries do not have the financial wherewithal to do it. China probably could, but I don't think the Chinese are going to spend $4, $5, $6 billion every year. That is one. Secondly, the problem with these countries is, and as far as Pakistan is concerned, these are not Pakistan's markets. Pakistan's own survival depends upon the Western bloc, not this bloc. So unless Pakistan is ready to eat grass, I don't think they can be sanguine about wanting to switch from the Western bloc to what they call a regional bloc. I don't think it's going to work. But ultimately, it will depend upon whether the Americans actually come down as hard as what the language in this bill suggests, or they water it down.
So, right, okay. So, Sushant, tell me this. This is not exactly news. Kamala Harris saying that Pakistan is supporting terrorism, or these 2022 odd, people there, politicians in the US, trying to sanction Pakistan. This is not new. I mean, we've had statements about from Hillary Clinton saying, speaking about snakes in the backyard. We've heard other statements about how the Haqqani network is a veritable arm of the ISI. And of course, Osama bin Laden and Abbottabad, and there are hundreds of such incidences. So it's not like America is coming to know right now. Why has America taken this action today or in the past 1 week? Why this anti-Pakistan feeling? They've known all along. They've known for the past 20, 30 years that Pakistan is doing this.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, this is a question which I've often asked myself that, are they suddenly waking up to the reality of the treachery that the Pakistanis have done? So yes, I think Secretary Blinken was correct when he said that, yes, there were areas in which the Pakistanis helped them, helped the United States and their war effort, and there were areas in which they were shafted. Now, the Americans have known this for the last 20 years. They thought they could, they did not need to take any precipitate action, partly because of their dependence on Pakistan. The air and the ground lines of communication ran through Pakistan, partly for that reason, and partly because what I think, Gaurav, is that, we've seen this in many other theaters, that the dominant power does not want to use all the power it has to eliminate the people it is fighting. It tries to leave a door open for some kind of political negotiation, some kind of reconciliation, which is what was happening even in the case of the Taliban. Now, the Taliban were not even banned by the Americans. They were not listed as a terrorist organization by the Americans, and they kept the door open for negotiations. We've done this in Kashmir, for example. We've done this in any number of places where there have been insurgencies in India. We've kept that door open, that we will negotiate with the political leadership and try and get around a particular problem. Invariably, because in the Indian case, there was a unity of purpose, there was a clarity of purpose. You never let a movement get out of control. You were able to control it. In the case of Afghanistan, I think while the Americans were trying that, they could have eliminated the entire Quetta Shura or Peshawar Shura or whichever Shura was there in Pakistan if they wanted to. The fact that they did not do it meant that they were leaving that door open. Now, I think that door remained open so much that these guys flooded Afghanistan and the Americans ultimately lost. So now they can they've realized the mistakes they've made, and they're probably angry, they're probably reacting, and correctly, I would say. But I would think that, things have now moved on from what they were in the past. And that is why these moves are now being made.
Absolutely.
But whether these moves go beyond just expressing the kind of anger they are doing, or it's just venting of their spleen, I think we'll get to know in the next couple of weeks.
All right. Yeah, sure. Sure. So you mentioned, Sushant, you spoke about door open, and you're saying that a bigger power never absolutely shuts the door. They leave the door open a little bit. You mentioned about the Quetta Shura. You also mentioned about the Taliban, and you gave an example of Kashmir. Now, I'm going to sort of ask you to come and focus on Iran. All right. Now, Iran also has a border with Afghanistan. Iran also provides a road to Central Asia. Iran also has ports. So it has everything that Pakistan has, and in addition, Iran is floating in oil and gas. Except for the fact that the Americans, the Israelis don't get along with the Iranis. Now, having said that, do you think the Americans have left a door open even in Iran? Because if there is a thought process in the American establishment that we've had it with Pakistan, I'm not saying it's going to happen today, maybe 5 or 10 years down the line. If there is a thought process that we've had it with Pakistan and these guys are absolute turncoats and they have stabbed us in the back many times, do you think there could be re-engagement with Iran? Because Iran provides exactly what Pakistan provides and maybe more.
Yeah, but Iran also has certain problems. Number one, given the nature of the Iranian government, it's a Shiite state. I think that becomes a bit of a problem for the Americans. But I think the American-Iranian history goes much deeper than that. And the problem for the Americans is going to be, I think Obama tried it. When they started this whole JCPOA kind of a thing, I think there was an outreach towards Iran.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Even in 2001, I think the Iranian role was very, very positive at that point of time because, in a manner of speaking, the Iranian and American interest matched insofar as Afghanistan was concerned. And in the first few months, you saw that the Iranians were even cooperating with the Americans. And then you had that axis of evil speech, and everything went for a six. Now, even after Obama tried, there was that outreach towards Iran. Things looked like Iran and the Americans might work out some kind of a modus vivendi, perhaps even on Afghanistan. And then you had the right wing in the American establishment, which actually was very skeptical about Iran and which wanted to go hammer and tongs at Iran and not give any space to the Iranians. Then there were other pressures. One, the Saudis took it amiss, the American outreach to Iran. The Israelis were very unhappy with it. So I think in the end, that Iran-America rapprochement or some kind of agreement insofar as Afghanistan is concerned, I'm quite skeptical about that coming to fruition in any time in the future.
All right. All right. Right. Thank you, Sushant. Brigadier Haris Nawaz, a very warm welcome to our show. There was some technical problem with your link. My question to you is, recently in an interview with the Anadolu Agency, which is a Turkish news agency, Prime Minister Imran Khan said that he is, or his government is talking to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is, for our viewers, a Pakistan-based terrorist outfit. Now, Brigadier Nawaz, what I'm going to ask you is, you see, your opposition is up in arms saying that this was never discussed in the parliament, this wasn't discussed with us. And this should have been said, if at all, on a Pakistani network. He went to Turkey, or the Turkish people came there and he spoke on their network. And suddenly it was a surprise because these were the people who were responsible for the APS Peshawar attacks, and these were the people who have, caused serious amount of bloodshed inside Pakistan. Apart from property loss, property can be recovered, property can be built again, lives cannot. I'd like your response on this, Brigadier Haris Nawaz. Prime Minister Imran Khan suddenly springing this up and saying, oh, we are talking to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And he's been saying this for a very long time, even when he was not Prime Minister. 2-3 weeks after, I have that on Dawn News, I have it in my mobile phone. Even after the attack on those school kids, 130, 140 innocent school kids were murdered, Imran Khan, he came on air and he said that, no, we must talk to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Brigadier Haris Nawaz, your comments, sir.
You see, Major Gaurav, listen, one thing is very clear. There is we want to end up, it's not a terrorism that we want it to be unending war. Now is the right time when Tehreek-e-Taliban want to negotiate. Number two, this is the time when if Americans kept calling Taliban a terrorist, then they negotiated for 4 years in Doha. And finally, they got compromised, and then of course they handed over control to the Taliban. Number two, you see, we don't want an unending war. Now is the time when Taliban have said to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan that you will not operate from our land. You have to leave. You have to surrender your weapons. So where would they go? If they come to Pakistan, Pakistan military is already geared up to sort them out. So this is the right time. We feel that now if they come to our terms, if they say we surrender all arms, number two, we are not going to operate to any terrorism. Number three, they will negotiate on our terms. And also those who are involved in heinous crimes like APS Peshawar and so many incidents, they have to be faced the law of the land. And then there are the lower echelons who have been just played in their hands. And then we say, okay, then now you can come to the mainstream. Like we have done with the Balochis who went to the mountains, get the weapons. and ultimately we gave them our pardon. So this is the right time when they are weak.
Okay,
they have no
Brigadier
place.
Harris Nawaz, you know what I'm. Absolutely. Thank you for your comments, sir. You know, Sushant, Brigadier Harris Nawaz says, I'm aware of the statement of the Afghan Taliban that we will not allow people to operate from our territory and harm other countries. That I'm aware of. I'm not aware of statements by the Afghan Taliban saying that, get out of Afghanistan, telling the TTP, the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, get out from here, keep down your weapons and do this. And I'm not aware of any such statements. Sushant, are you aware of any such formal statements having been made by the Afghan Taliban against the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan that, surrender your weapons or we will take action? What Brigadier Harris Nawaz is saying. I'm not aware of this, Sushant.
No, none of these statements have crossed my eyes, at least. In fact, quite to the contrary, what the Afghan Taliban have been saying is basically they are telling the Pakistanis what the Pakistanis used to tell everybody else. That, listen, you guys need to talk to these fellows. Don't expect us to take any action against them. We are not going to take any action against them. There is talk among Pakistani circles that the Afghan Taliban have promised to expel the Tehrik-e-Taliban. I find that either wishful thinking or spinning the news, because we haven't heard anything from the Afghan Taliban. All that the Afghan Taliban have said is that, look, we will not let anybody use our territory to launch any attacks, and there are going to be no security threats insofar as Pakistan is concerned from us. That is what they have said. Their leader, who is basically a Pakistani stooge, which is Khalil Haqqani, has even said this in an interview to a Pakistani a Pakistani newspaper, that, look, we would counsel everybody to talk to people, get into reconciliation and stuff like that. Now, maybe the Pakistanis will try to get into reconciliation, but I suspect what they will try and do is try and sow some kind of division. So suddenly you now start hearing that somebody like Hafiz Gul Bahadur has declared a ceasefire, but Hafiz Gul Bahadur was never technically a member of the TTP. He was never a part of the TTP. They used to work together at times, but at times Hafiz Gul Bahadur used to work for the Pakistan Army and for the ISI. So there are those muddled kind of links which all of these guys have, overlapping links. But I have not seen anywhere where the Afghan Taliban have said we will expel anybody. Not TTP, not the Uzbeks, not the Tajiks, not the Al-Qaeda, nobody.
I'll go to Brigadier Harris Nawaz directly and ask him. Brigadier Harris Nawaz, over the past 1 or 2 months, Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, has been openly advocating for the Taliban. Now, you know that about these 22 American senators who have, this Afghanistan Counterterrorism Oversight and Accountability Act. And this has impacted the stock market in Pakistan and the flight of dollars from Pakistan to Afghanistan. It's crossed 170 rupees to a dollar in Pakistan. Whatever Pakistan wants to do with the Afghan Taliban is Pakistan's internal business. But don't you think it'll be good if Imran Khan can lower the rhetoric a little bit, because this is sending wrong signals and the entire country is paying for the fact that Imran Khan keeps on talking about it. Do whatever you wish to do, sir. I'm not saying that Pakistan should do this or that. Do whatever you wish to do. Just talk a little less about it publicly, because this is sending out wrong signals. Sir, you have 2 minutes. I'm going to close the program. After you, I'll go to Sushant and then I'll close, sir. Okay. Very quickly.
Okay, Major Garia, listen, the point is Pakistan is very concerned to have peace in Afghanistan. That is our utmost desire, and that is what we are been telling Americans, and even now telling Americans. We are engaging Americans and telling them, please do something. Don't stop their economic aid, because if the government is not stable, then they will resort to different means which will not be suitable to this region, and particularly Pakistan, because then neither they will be able to control Al-Qaeda, even ISIS, TTP, or so many other groups which are operating in Afghanistan. So if Afghanistan is stable, Afghanistan is peaceful, that means Pakistan is peaceful and we will not have any cross-border terrorism. That is a concern which Pakistan has been advocating to all the Americans. But the issue is that Americans put their failures on others and they're trying to make Pakistan a scapegoat. That we don't accept. And we have told them, General, if Senator John has told them, he's asked them very pinching questions. Okay, what have you done for Pakistan? What all Pakistan done it? Have you repaid it? The issue is, it is very easy to talk. Who has been supporting Taliban? The point is, Pakistan has been supporting all the time American. Because of that, this TTP issue and terrorism in Pakistan started off. They got against us because they said, why you are supporting Americans? That is the reason. But now we have decided that we want peace. We will
I'll have to
peace.
cut you short here. I'm sorry I'm interrupting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brigadier Haris Nawaz, sorry I'm interrupting here. I need to go to Sushant and then close this program. Sushant, you've heard what Brigadier Haris Nawaz had to say. Now, I'm asking you one very, very simple question. And my question is that when the Taliban marched into Kabul on 15th of August this year, Imran Khan came on television and said that, Afghanistan has achieved independence, right? And great. If that is what he wants to call independence, I mean, God be with him. My question is, who were the subjugators in Imran Khan's view? It was the Americans. So the Americans were so-called subjugating the Afghan people for the past 20 years, which is why the Afghan Taliban gave the Afghan people independence. That is what he meant to say. If that be so, Sushant, my question to you is, why is he asking the Americans and the West for recognition? Why is he asking them for money? Afghans should just enjoy their freedom. America has gone. Just go away.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. But no. Happy
Gaurav,
Independence Day plus 20%.
Yeah, so Gaurav, that is the disconnect in the Pakistani mind, and that is the national schizophrenia which affects the Pakistanis. They have, yes, they've assisted the Americans, as I told you earlier, in some cases, but they've also shafted them royally in many other cases. That is one. Secondly, for all their adventurism, they realize that they have done this on empty pockets. So now they want somebody else to foot the bill. Now, it's a strange kind of a thing. If it is so independent, then let them enjoy their independence. Why do you want Americans or the West or India or any other country to fund out there? The Pakistanis should help them, na? Why don't the Pakistanis help them? They've got their 5th province. They should help the Taliban. The Taliban are the slaves of the Pakistan army. The Pakistan army has orchestrated this whole thing. So let them pay for it. Why should you want American money? That is dirty money. America is the great Satan. Why do you want it? It's money. You pay for it.
Can I get a minute to speak?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sushant, for your answer. Brigadier Haris Nawaz, thank you very much. I'm going to close this show, but before I do, I'd just like to tell our viewers something very interesting and funny has happened in Pakistan. Go to Google and read about it. This is the National Hemp Policy. Imran Khan and his minister, Shibli Faraz, has said, let's grow drugs, let's sell drugs, let's make money, because that is the only way we're going to get foreign exchange. Go to Google and check out Pakistan's National Hemp Policy. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with another set of guests. Till then, from my team and I here at the studios, Jai Hind.